In 1831, at Oak Hill Estate, 73-year-old James Monroe reclined in a rocking chair, his gaze fixed on the century-old oak tree swaying in the courtyard. The rustling leaves whispered tales of his turbulent political career. As the fifth president of the United States, he had spent his life chasing national glory, yet remained trapped in a moral quagmire by slavery. His fingers brushed the faded Monroe Doctrine speech as the Blue Ridge Mountains dissolved into the haze, a poignant punctuation mark between idealism and compromise. In 1758, 16-year-old James Monroe witnessed French and British soldiers clashing near his home in Westmoreland County, Virginia. His father, Spence, a lawyer, often took him to colonial assembly debates. At the College of William Mary in 1774, Monroe met Thomas Jefferson. When Jefferson proclaimed, "All men are created equal," Monroe scribbled in his diary. These words split the darkness like lightning, yet the chains of reality remain heavy. Monroe joined the Continental Army in 1776 and was gravely wounded at the Battle of Trenton. George Washington's calm demeanor during treatment left an indelible mark. Post-war, Monroe entered politics as Jefferson's protege. While Madison fought for checks and balances at the Constitutional Convention, Monroe warned Virginia's legislature, "Let us guard against the overreach of federal power as vigilantly as we once opposed British tyranny." In 1794, Monroe strode into Versailles wearing a plain brown coat, starkly contrasting the opulent French court. When Foreign Minister Talleyrand dismissed American sovereignty, Monroe slammed the table. "Our independence was not granted. It was bought with blood." His defiance secured France's recognition. At London's negotiating table, Monroe clashed with British Foreign Secretary George Canning. When Canning threatened to blockade American ports, Monroe retorted, "Your warships may block the seas, but not the March of Liberty." Their talks produced the controversial Jay Treaty, buying America critical peacetime growth. Monroe moved into the newly restored Executive Mansion in 1817. In his inaugural address, he declared, "Our nation shall be a beacon of freedom." Yet the Missouri crisis split him. Writing to Jefferson, he confessed, "I would rather rend my own soul than watch this nation divide." His Missouri Compromise quieted sectional strife, but left a spiritual scar. The 1823 Monroe Doctrine shocked the world. Addressing Congress, Monroe thundered, "The American continents are henceforth closed to further European colonization." Outside, the Statue of Liberty glimmered in sunlight. Privately, he confided to Madison, "Our expansion devours native lands. It betrays our ideals." Retired to Oak Hill, Monroe poured himself into philanthropy. His school closed for lack of funds. Gazing at enslaved laborers, he told wife Elizabeth, "We must act." Southern planters fiercely opposed his efforts. On July 4, 1831, Monroe died in his study. His coffin bore the U.S. flag and Monroe Doctrine speech. As the procession passed slave quarters, a young man murmured, "He was the first president to speak for us." The words pierced the crowd like a blade. Monroe's life was a tragedy of idealism and pragmatism. He shaped America's foreign policy, yet stayed silent on slavery. His will read, "I leave an unfinished nation. The shadow of Oak Hill lingers, a testament to a leader caught between glory and guilt."